We have already discussed about the schemes of 10th CBSE exam and some grammar topics also. To score good marks for English, you should know some more topics also. Today, I am here with reported speech, which is an important thing that we should know. So, what is reported speech? How to convert a direct speech into reported speech? All these things I am going to discuss in this video. Reported speech. You need to know how to transform direct speech into reported speech. Present simple tense into past simple tense. So when we are getting a tense, direct speech into present simple tense, it will be converting into past simple tense. Then present continuous tense will be converting into past continuous tense. Present perfect, that is the way when we are using the or when we are converting the direct speech into reported speech. These are the changes happening in that sentence. Present simple tense will be changing into past perfect tense. We have already discussed the tenses in detail in the other video. Those who want to know more about these tenses can watch that previous video. Then past continuous tense will be changing into past perfect continuous tense. Past perfect tense remains unchanged. When we change a direct speech from past perfect tense, it won't be having any tense change. And if there are any will in that sentence, it will be changing into would. Will be changing into would be. Will have into would have. Will have been into would have been. That is a change happening in direct speech into reported speech when it is changing from direct speech into reported speech. Then other changes. What are the other changes that we have to taken care when we are changing a direct speech into reported speech? Then can could be changing into could. Then could, that verb remain unchanged. Then have into had to. Must into must or had to. May into might, if it is coming, it will be changing unchanged. That is a change coming when direct speech into the reported speech. Should also remains unchanged. Then what are the other changes? Then now will be changing into then. Today will be changing into that day. Here, there, this, that. Tomorrow, that following day, or the next day, the day after. Next week, the following week. The next or the next week, the week after. Yesterday will be changing into the previous day. Last week will be changing into previous week. Ago will be changing into previously or before. Tonight, that night. So these are the normal changes that we have to bring when we are changing a direct speech into reported speech. The structure is a little different from depending on whether you want to change a statement, question, or request. It is based on the nature of that sentence. Then we are going to look in detail about what are the changes that we need to bring when we are changing a commands or a request from direct into indirect speech. The direct verbs for the orders, commands, request are ordered, shout, demand, warn, beg, command, tell, insist, beseech, threaten, improve, implore, ask, propose, forbid. So these are the reporting verb. What do you mean by reporting verb? Reporting verbs are, for example, Rahul said, I am going to Delhi. So it is an example for direct speech. The reporting verb is the first part, Rahul said. So it is having a verb. Said is a reporting verb. So that is what we need to take care. So if the reporting verb is in present tense, we don't have to change the tense of that sentence. I have already discussed the changes that we need to bring when we are changing a direct speech into indirect speech. If the reporting verb is in present tense, no, not at all we need to bring any kind of these changes. No need to bring any changes. Let me clear to you. If the reporting verb is in present tense, we don't have to change the tense of that sentence. If the reporting verb is in past tense, we need to bring changes. That is the important thing that we should know. And when we are changing a command or request, these kinds of reporting verbs we must use. For example, the direct speech, one example is given there. Direct speech, mom, tidy your room. Tidy your room. That is a command given by mom. So that is a an example for command. Then how can we change that into reported speech? Ma'am told me to tidy my room. So ma'am told me, that can be used. The reporting verb is told. So that is an example for a command. The next one, speaker. Could you not make so much? She asked me not to make so much noise. Not to make so much noise. So that pattern has to be changed. The first one is a command, but when we are changing that into reported speech, that nature has been changed. She asked me not to make such noise. Then the next one is, he said open the door. Reported speech, he ordered me to open the door. So ordered, that is the reporting verb. So as it is an order, we have given the word as reporting verb as ordered. Direct one another example. He said to me, come with me. Reported speech will be, he told me to go with him. Go with him. So that is what we need to bring changes. Then next one is a reporting request. So what we need to do when we are reporting a request. A request is when somebody is asked you to do something, usually politely. Reported requests are one of the form of reported speech. Advice, promise, agree, offer, all these kinds of sentences are come under the category of request. So, the doctor advised me to stop smoking. My dad promised to buy me a football. We agreed to meet on Saturday. These are example for request or request sentences. So I'm giving some examples when we are changing a direct into indirect speech for request. She said, "Could you open the door, please?" That is an example for a request. When we change that into reported speech, it will be changing like this. She asked me to open the door. She asked me to open the door. The next one is, he said, please don't smoke. He asked them not to smoke. So that is also an example for a reported verb in reported speech and request. Then we usually introduce the reported request with the verb ask. The structure is ask plus noun or pronoun plus to infinitive. To infinitive means to plus verb. To smoke. To open. So these are example for to infinite. That is the structure we need to follow when we are changing a request into indirect speech or a reported speech. In reported statements and reported questions, we may need to change the pronoun as well as the time and place and reported request. So that is also to be considered. I'll give you some more examples. That is direct request. I said politely. It's a direct request. Please make less noise. So I asked them politely to make less noise. That is a reported sentence. I said politely, please make less noise. Then when we change into reported speech, I ask them politely to make less noise. So what is the changes that we can see in this sentence? Please. So I ask them politely to make less noise. Okay, to infinity is there, to make. The next one is, she has often said to me, could you stay the night? That will be changing like this. She often asks me to stay the night. Then the next one is, they said to the architect, we had like you to meet us here tomorrow. They asked the architect to meet them there the next day. Then another one, she will certainly say to John, please stay for lunch. She will certainly ask John to stay for lunch. She always says, please don't forget me. She always asks me not to forget her. So all these things are example for reporting request. I have already told you to infinite we need to use when we are reporting request. To forget, to stay, to meet. All these are example for that. Then statement. We usually introduce reported statement with a reporting verb such as say or tell. For example, Susan, Mary works in an office. That is a statement. So when we change into in reported sentence, it will be changing like that. Susan says that Mary works in an office. Mary works in an office. Says. So that is Look at this sentence. I have already told you that if the reporting verb is in present tense, we don't have to bring any kind of change. That is what we can see in this sentence. Susan says, Mary works in an office. The direct speech in simple present tense, and the reporting verb is reporting tense sentence is also in present tense, simple present tense. That is what we have to take care. Then one more example I'll give you. Direct speech, I lost my red pen here this morning. Then reported speech, Emily said that she had lost her red pen here this morning. So the first one is in simple past tense, and I have told you that simple past tense will be changing into past perfect. So look at the sentence. Emily said that she had lost her red pen here this morning. Had lost. So that is an example for past perfect tense. So that is to be considered when we are reporting, when we are using writing the reported speech. Normally word order is used to report. Question is that the subject comes before the verb, and it is not necessary to use do or did when we are reporting questions. Now the next one is question, reporting reported speech for question. So yes or no question, what is to be used when we are, how to write when we are changing the yes or no questions. This type of questions is reported by using ask or if or whether or close. Direct speech, I'll give you one example. Direct speech, do you speak English? That is a direct question of yes or no question. Indirect speech will be like this. She asked me if I spoke English. She asked me if I spoke English. One more example. Are you British or American? Indirect speech will be he asked me whether I was British or American. Direct speech, is it raining? Direct speech, she asked if it is raining. Direct speech, have you got a computer? Direct speech, she wanted to know whether I had a computer. Direct speech, can you type? She asked if I could type. Direct speech, did you come by train? He inquired whether I had come by train. Direct speech, have you been Bristol before? Direct speech, she asked if I had been Bristol before. These are the example for sentences or statements or a commands or a questions, how to change a direct into indirect speech. I'll revise once again that when we are changing a reported speech, we should consider the tense of that sentence. If the if it is in a simple present tense, it should be changed into simple past tense. If it is present continuous tense, past continuous tense. Present perfect, past perfect. Present perfect continuous tense, past perfect continuous tense. Then simple past, past perfect. Simple present past continuous tense, past continuous tense will be changing into past perfect continuous tense, and past perfect will remain unchanged. These are the main changes that we need to consider when we are changing a direct speech into reported speech. Again, some other changes are there that like this today will be changing into that day, yesterday, previous day, tomorrow, the next day. All these kinds of changes will be there when we are changing a direct speech into indirect speech. So you have to look the tense of that sentence to change the direct into indirect speech. One other important thing is that we need to look into the reporting verb. So the tense of that reported verb. If the reported verb is in present tense, we don't have to bring any kind of changes in the when we are changing into the indirect speech. So these are the things about reported speech. Hope you understood my class. And if you like my class, like the button, subscribe it, and follow me for the next classes regarding grammar topics of 10th, especially for 10th standard. Other people also want to know all these things, but especially for 10th. Okay, then see you. Bye.